When working in Adobe Photoshop CS4, there are many opportunities to use keyboard shortcuts, but realize that there are many menu and panel items that you do not have quick and easy access to, hence the need for the keyboard shortcut editor. I'm clicking on Launch Bridge up here in the application bar, and I'm navigating out to the Project Files folder, the PS-CS4 Advanced folder, opening up Chapter 1 and opening up the guitar player. Clicking OK to the Embedded Profile Mismatch, and I've got my file open. Now, understand that there are 3 groups of keyboard shortcuts that you can create. There are the menu items up here at the top, and you'll notice that off to the right of the menu item, you do see the keyboard shortcut for that specific menu item. You'll see keyboard shortcuts for the tools, and those appear in the tooltip off to the right. Much lesser known are the keyboard shortcuts for the panel menus over here off to the right. So let's go ahead and choose Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts. Up at the top, it says Set Photoshop Defaults. Here are those 3 groups I mentioned earlier: Application menus, Panel menus, and Tools. I'm in the Application menu right now, which is this menu bar across the top. Notice that it matches the menus going down in the list. I can choose File, for instance, and scroll down and see all the file menus in here and add keyboard commands for each one. So let's say that, maybe I want to go in and create a keyboard shortcut for batch. Now, batch is when you want to create an action, like perhaps you want to resize a whole bunch of items at once or change a bunch of items to sepia tone, whatever it may be. I'm going to go into that a little bit later, but just so you can see how to create a keyboard shortcut for an item that you might use frequently, notice what I'm doing. I am clicking off to the right. I've got my keyboard shortcut dialog box there, and I press F12, and immediately a warning comes up saying, hey, hello, F12 is already in use and will be removed from file revert if accepted. Bad news. I don't want to overwrite my existing keyboard shortcuts. So I'll delete that. And this time I'll hold down the Option or Alt key and press F12. And that one is accepted, saying, nobody's really using that right now, so that's okay. So I can click on Accept, and I've now created my own keyboard command. So if I press OK, and now I hold down Option F12, you'll notice that the batch action window comes up immediately. Again, quick, easy way of accessing features that you use on a regular basis. Now, continuing on, I'm going to enter back in to keyboard shortcuts. And I want to just note to you that as you create these, you might lose touch with which ones have been created and which have been used. And in fact, you might be the type of person who isn't using a lot of keyboard shortcuts right now, but wants to, and you're trying to find the place that tells you all the keyboard shortcuts. This is what people ask me every time I teach. Where is the place you go to see all the keyboard shortcuts? Well, I have this modified right now, which means I did make a change, but I haven't changed any of the existing keyboard shortcuts. So you can even come in and just click on Summarize. And if you click on Summarize, Photoshop creates an HTML file that you can save wherever you'd like. Click on Save, and it launches into your browser. And if you scroll down, you see all the existing keyboard commands. Now, while you're in here, you'll also notice that many items do not have keyboard commands, and that's where, again, you can take advantage of the keyboard editor. I'm going to close that up. You can also change a keyboard shortcut of a panel menu. And you'll notice this brings up all your different panel menus. Something that I like to do is something simple, like go into the Swatches panel, and I might say, hey, you know what? Sometimes I want to see a large thumbnail. So if I put in here Option F11, large thumbnail, and then go to small thumbnail and press Option F10, say, okay, that's what I want to do, accept, okay. Now, here's my swatches panel. Option F11, there's my big swatches, Option F10, small again. So if you want to quickly change the view of a panel, you can do that, as well as a whole bunch of other items as well that are selectable in the Edit Keyboard Shortcuts menu. You'll notice also that tools are available here, and I would not suggest changing your tool keyboard shortcuts just because so many people get used to using these. And if you're going to share your machine, that could really cause a problem. But it is there if you need to use them. Now notice that I do have Photoshop defaults modified at the top. Perhaps I want to save these. Now I can either save all the changes to the current set of shortcuts, which I wouldn't do because I want to keep my defaults set, or I can do a save as, or essentially creating a new set. Now, if I click on this item, I can come in here and say, all right, this is Jen's set. And maybe this is because I'm using my machine with a whole bunch of other people and I want to be able to access them quickly from the drop-down menu. Or maybe I have a certain set for each type of work that I'm working on. So I can click on OK, and I'm done. So I have all my shortcuts set up perhaps the way I want. Notice that there's a lot of free reign with what you can do as far as setting up your Photoshop defaults. Don't forget it anytime. You can go back to the keyboard shortcuts and just say, oops, you know what, let's just go back to the way it was and click OK.